Hello, this is a quick demo of how I'm using Microsoft Teams and some of the other Microsoft tools and some tools connected to it uh, for teaching at the moment. Many of these techniques can be used for other kinds of projects as well, as you'll see. So first thing to say is that Warwick, we're currently still using the Microsoft Teams Classic. We haven't had access to the very latest version of Teams enabled. So when that new version of Teams is enabled, things will look slightly different, but mostly the new version is about creating a more robust, faster, and extensible Teams platform. So not too many big differences. Um, you'll see here we've got the try the new Teams switch, which you can use to switch over to the new version of Teams. Unfortunately, it's not been enabled for us yet. Okay, so I don't usually start with this view. So when you start Teams, for many people, they're going to see a layout like this. And if you've got a lot of Teams there, it's a bit confusing. Also, you can't actually see the channels inside those teams and the activity. So let's just switch over using the gear icon, top right-hand corner here, and switch view. Now, I think this is one of the things that's going to change very slightly the position of these different buttons and things in the new version of Teams. I'm just going to switch to list view, and that is so much better. Okay, so I can now find the team that I'm interested in, which is this Introduction to Design Thinking. Let's have a look at this one. DI 229329, Spring 2024. Now, just made a small change to how I'm using Teams here. So I'm actually creating a Teams space for all of my Introduction to Design Thinking work, and then a channel within that for specific modules. So when I teach this same module again next year, I'll have another channel, and the previous year's students will be able to actually see what's going on in all of the design thinking teaching. So I'm trying to create a kind of community beyond the individual module. Obviously, that doesn't fit with everybody. There's lots of ways of doing this. Okay, so within the channel, we've got set up along the top here a whole series of tabs. And there's many different kinds of tabs you can add, and I'll just go through some of the ones that I've used. But if you click on the plus sign at the end, you get to see the different kinds of content that you can add in there. One of the ones I've used quite a lot is websites, and that just allows you to bring a web page that's outside the Teams system into Teams, as you'll see. Okay, another thing to note is that quite often when people first look at this, they'll find, especially if they're using a lower resolution or a smaller screen, I'll just zoom in here and you'll see that some of those tabs are in a drop down because they don't fit onto the screen very effectively. If I zoom out a bit there, you'll see I've got the full list of tabs along the top. Okay, so let's go through what I've got here. Posts, you'll all be familiar with that. So all of the usual functions there. We have the ability now to pin posts for everybody. So when the whole class look at this, there'll be a pin post at the top. I think there's going to be some nice developments of the post section with the new version of Teams, and going forwards, that's going to get a bit more sophisticated. Some of the things that people have been asking for a long time will start to appear. File section. So this is a full file system that I can use to organize the files for the class here. We can create folders and add all different kinds of files, including Microsoft Office documents, and that makes them editable from within Teams. Okay, just want to point out a really useful feature here, which is add shortcut to OneDrive. So that will, if you've got OneDrive on your computer, and most people will, so they're built into the Windows platform, click on the add shortcut to OneDrive, and you get this folder appears in the OneDrive file system. Okay, so you can then manage these files, open them, edit them as you would any other file on your computer. That's an incredibly useful thing. I think there's actually going to be some more developments of that integration with OneDrive coming very soon with Microsoft. So there's going to be like a single file browser solution for accessing all of your files, whether they're in Teams, SharePoint, or OneDrive. That would be brilliant. Okay, so next is intro and overview. And this is actually, this tab is just showing one. It's telling me there that Ed has made some changes to the document. So this is just showing one of those files in the file system. So if I go back to files there, we've got the introduction document, and I've just actually added that as a tab, just to make it clear that that's an important thing for the students to look at. Okay, something slightly different now. So learning outcomes. And this is one of those tabs where it's bringing in a web page from another system. So this is actually a frame in a Miro board that I'm showing here with the learning outcomes on. Now that's important because over the course of the module, we'll be in Miro doing some work inside that frame to show how the assessment activities at the bottom connect to the learning outcomes. Timeline is another of these cases where I brought in a page from another platform. In this case, it's the Mindomo mind mapping software. And you can see there that I've got a timeline for the module for the students to look at. Calendar is a standard Teams thing, but there's, I think this is a new development. It's possible to actually embed a calendar that just shows the events for this channel. So this is called a channel calendar. So actually at the moment, it's just got the weekly session on there, but we can have a lot more. And the students can add things to that as well. Now let's go on to readings. Another page that has come from another system. In this case, I'm actually showing them the design thinking section of my Zotero research notebook. But that could be any other online reading list system. Then I've got a tab that actually just shows the whole of that Miro board. This is the same Miro board, but the default view for that is zoomed out. Okay, Kanban. So Kanban is a technique for planning that we're using. So it's a popular, very, very popular technique. And this is in fact a Microsoft Planner board. So Microsoft Planner there's a whole platform in the Microsoft system for task management. And this integrates with, you can see that I've assigned some of these tasks to students, and it integrates with their personal to-do lists. It's very sophisticated. So we can add tasks on the right here, and actually during the teaching session, I'll be working through this and moving tasks from backlog to preparing and doing, reviewing, and then done. If I bring the done list down, so that's all the stuff we did in the first workshop and between the first workshop and the second. And in the reviewing section, these are all the things we did in the second workshop. What I'm going to do is just leave them in reviewing, and then at the start of the third workshop, we'll just go through them and then move them to done when we're happy. So we have kind of in this planner system a whole progress of tasks from backlog through to hopefully done. Something I've just tried out here. So Microsoft Lists is another of the features built into the Microsoft platform, and you can make lists of many, many different types. You can create your own custom lists, or you can use some template lists, and one of those template lists is an issue tracker. I don't know if we'll get to use this. Hopefully the students won't have any issues, but if we do, I'm going to encourage them to actually try the issue tracker, because that's a standard thing used in many, many different industries, and students need to get used to using that kind of approach. And finally, there's I haven't put any YouTube videos onto here yet, but we can embed a YouTube feed on there as well. Just going back to that plus sign, there are so many different apps, types of content, all kinds of things that you can embed as tabs into here. Some of them are just bringing content in from elsewhere. Some of them are using the Microsoft platform. And it's making, adding really rich functionality, rich features to what we're doing and how we're working as a class.